Right now, silver is sitting near one of the most important levels traders have been watching for months, and what happens when COMEX opens tonight could determine the direction of the market for days, weeks, or even longer. Most people think nothing is happening because the price looks quiet, but experienced traders know that some of the biggest moves in financial history started during periods that looked exactly like this. A market becomes quiet, volatility drops, everyone gets comfortable. Then suddenly, a move arrives that catches almost everyone off guard. The question tonight is simple. Is silver preparing for one of those moments right now? Stay with me, because the signals building beneath the surface are becoming harder to ignore. Before we dive in, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to OG John Market if you enjoy silver updates, precious metals analysis, and market insights. It helps the channel reach more investors, and it lets me know you want more content like this. Now let's get into what could become a very important trading session. When investors look at silver, many focus only on the price. They see $75 and think the market is simply moving sideways. But professional traders rarely focus only on price. They look at behavior, they look at positioning, they look at sentiment. And right now, the behavior of the silver market is sending a very interesting message. Think about a spring being compressed, and the more pressure you apply, the more energy gets stored. At first, nothing seems to happen. The spring just sits there. But eventually, when enough force builds up, that energy has to go somewhere. Markets often work the same way. Long periods of consolidation frequently lead to powerful moves. The longer the market remains compressed, the bigger the potential reaction once the pressure is released. That is why traders around the world are paying close attention to tonight's COMEX opening session. Futures markets often provide the first clues about investor sentiment. Large institutions, hedge funds, professional traders, and major market participants all interact through these markets. Sometimes the signals are subtle, other times they are impossible to miss. Over the past several trading sessions, silver has shown remarkable resilience. Every time sellers appear, buyers seem willing to step in. This does not automatically guarantee higher prices. Markets never move in straight lines, but it does suggest that demand remains stronger than many expected. At the same time, uncertainty continues to dominate the global economic picture. Investors are still watching inflation data. They are watching central bank decisions. They are watching economic growth forecasts. They are watching government debt levels. Every one of these factors can influence precious metals. Historically, silver has occupied a unique position. Unlike gold, which is often viewed mainly as a store of value, silver sits at the intersection of investment demand and industrial demand. It is both a precious metal and an industrial metal. That combination creates fascinating dynamics. When economic uncertainty rises, investors often seek hard assets. When industrial activity expands, silver can benefit from manufacturing demand. When both forces appear at the same time, the market can become especially interesting. This is one reason why many analysts continue monitoring silver so closely. The metal is involved in solar technology, electronics, medical applications, and many other industries. Demand drivers are coming from multiple directions. Meanwhile, investors continue searching for assets that may offer protection during periods of financial uncertainty. Now here's where things become particularly interesting. Many market participants are still waiting for confirmation. They're waiting for a clear signal. They want the market to prove itself before taking action. This is completely understandable. Nobody wants to jump into a false breakout. Nobody wants to get caught on the wrong side of a move. But history shows that by the time a move becomes obvious, much of the opportunity may already be gone. The market rewards those who pay attention before the crowd notices, not after. That does not mean silver is guaranteed to move higher tonight. Nobody knows that. Any person claiming certainty about the future is usually selling a fantasy. Markets are probabilities, not guarantees. However, what we can do is examine the conditions currently developing. One thing traders are watching is volume. During major turning points, volume often begins to increase. More participants enter the market. More capital changes hands. Activity starts expanding. Sometimes this occurs gradually. Sometimes it happens all at once. Another factor is sentiment. Interestingly, some of the strongest rallies in market history began when confidence was relatively low. Why? Because markets often move against expectations. When everyone expects one outcome, the market frequently delivers another. If you look back at previous silver rallies, many started during periods when enthusiasm was limited. Investors were skeptical. Analysts were cautious. Headlines were mixed. Then momentum started building, and suddenly, everyone wanted exposure at the same time. Tonight's COMEX session may not produce fireworks immediately, but it could provide important clues regarding market direction. Traders will be watching how silver reacts around key levels. They will be watching buying pressure. They will be watching selling pressure. Most importantly, they will be watching how the market responds when challenged. Strong markets tend to absorb bad news. Weak markets tend to struggle even with good news. That simple principle has guided traders for generations. Imagine two fighters entering a ring. One absorbs punches and keeps moving forward. The other begins backing up after every hit. Eventually, the difference becomes obvious. Markets often reveal strength and weakness in a similar way. Another reason investors are paying attention is the broader environment surrounding precious metals. Around the world, conversations about inflation, purchasing power, and long-term economic stability continue to dominate financial discussions. People want to know how to protect wealth. They want to know where opportunities might emerge. Silver often enters these conversations because of its accessibility. Many investors view it as a way to gain exposure to precious metals without committing entirely to gold. That broader appeal can create additional interest when market conditions become favorable. Meanwhile, institutional investors continue evaluating portfolio allocations. Large money managers constantly assess risk and opportunity. Small shifts in institutional positioning can sometimes create significant market impacts. The average investor rarely sees these movements developing in real time. Instead, they usually notice after prices have already moved. That is why experienced traders focus on signals rather than headlines. Headlines often explain what already happened. Signals sometimes hint at what may happen next. As we move closer to the COMEX opening, market participants will be looking for evidence. Is fresh capital entering the market? Are buyers becoming more aggressive? Are sellers losing control? These are the questions that matter. There's also a psychological component many people underestimate. Financial markets are driven by human behavior. Fear and greed remain powerful forces. When prices remain trapped in a range for an extended period, frustration often builds. Some investors lose patience and leave. Others remain focused and continue monitoring developments. Then comes the moment when something changes. A breakout occurs. Momentum builds. New participants enter. Media coverage increases. Suddenly, a market that nobody was talking about becomes the center of attention. Could silver be approaching such a moment? It is possible. That is exactly why so many eyes are focused on tonight's session. Let's also remember that silver has a history of surprising both bulls and bears. It has experienced explosive rallies. It has experienced sharp pullbacks. Volatility is part of the metal's personality. Investors who participate in this market understand that dramatic moves can happen faster than many expect. This unpredictability is one reason silver remains fascinating. It does not always follow conventional expectations. It can remain quiet longer than anticipated. Then it can move with incredible speed. For long-term investors, the short-term fluctuations may matter less. They focus on bigger themes: industrial demand, monetary trends, global debt, currency purchasing power, supply and demand dynamics. These broader forces often play out over years rather than days. For traders, however, tonight represents something different. It represents a potential catalyst, a moment where market behavior may reveal important information. And whether silver moves higher, lower, or remains range-bound, information itself has value. Every trading session provides new data. Every market reaction teaches participants something about underlying sentiment. One thing worth remembering is that successful investing is rarely about predicting every move correctly. It is about managing risk and staying disciplined. The best investors in history were not perfect forecasters. They simply developed systems that allowed them to navigate uncertainty effectively. That lesson applies to silver just as much as any other market. As we approach the opening bell, excitement is naturally increasing. Social media discussions are becoming more active. Financial communities are debating possible outcomes. Analysts are sharing projections. Investors are reviewing charts. Yet beneath all the noise, the market will ultimately decide. Not opinions, not predictions, not headlines. The market itself. And that is what makes tonight so compelling. A quiet market sitting at a major level. Growing attention from investors. Multiple economic forces interacting at the same time. A futures session about to begin. These ingredients do not guarantee a major move, but they certainly create the conditions where one could emerge. If silver does break out, many people may look back and realize the warning signs were visible all along. If it remains contained, investors will continue searching for the next catalyst. Either way, tonight matters because it provides another piece of the puzzle. The coming hours could tell us whether buyers are gaining confidence, whether sellers still maintain control, or whether the battle continues unresolved. Every tick, every reaction, and every shift in momentum will be closely watched. And that is why silver sitting at $75 is far more interesting than it might appear at first glance. Sometimes the biggest story is not what the market has already done. Sometimes the biggest story is what the market may be preparing to do next. As always, stay informed, stay disciplined, and avoid making emotional decisions based on short-term market noise. The investors who consistently succeed are usually the ones who remain patient while others become distracted. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think silver is preparing for a major breakout, or do you believe the market will remain stuck in its current range after the COMEX open? Drop your prediction in the comments below. If you found this analysis valuable, share this video with friends, family members, and fellow investors who follow precious metals. And if you haven't already, Subscribe to OG John Market and turn on notifications so you never miss an important silver update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.